Hello, everybody. Sadly, I played this game and I recorded, but I must have made a mistake with the recording, and you couldn't see what I was playing in the recording, so you only heard my voice. And instead of just keeping the same audio and trying to figure out exactly how to do it with the game itself, I decided I'll re-record the game with the analysis and share my thoughts that I already had in the past. I just don't want this to be the usual. I just do want to stay committed to what I what I essentially committed to, which was to share every game, no matter what, with my thoughts during the game, so that maybe it can give some value to others, but it also can give value to myself, so that I can analyze the games with my thoughts in mind. So one of the things I did talk about in the audio was about the fact that a lot of times as beginners, before, up until like 1500 especially, we focus a lot on trying to memorize openings and figuring out, what the best opening is, what the whole play by play should be, what if the opponent plays like this or like this. And I was saying how I think that that is a mistake, because I think mainly in beginner levels, what you want to focus more about is blunder control. It's essentially how not to blunder. So you see over here, like the opponent made a mistake and he took some time for it, and this, in the end of the day, is what's gonna affect the game more. I also sadly made a mistake over here. I probably should have been a little bit more um, thinking forward, because this doesn't really give me much, because this pawn isn't moving, so this piece has two protectors that I don't necessarily want to trade, especially not in the beginning. So my opponent plays the best move, I take, and we got to this position with the queen, and this is actually the position right before the thumbnail. And I say over here that in the game I played attacking the pawn, which I thought was the best move, because I was essentially promised to take the rook in the next move, where he's just getting from me a bishop. Let's see if anybody can, like, in the comments, tell me what the better move was. Um, I'm not going to show you over here, but as you can see, the engine essentially is saying that this was a mistake, a big mistake. Uh, my opponent, essentially black, decides to check with the idea of getting my bishop. At this point, I already knew that he's essentially attacking us, so my pawn, but because I was going to be on the diagonal, I said it's still the right move to take the rook, and I was correct. He then protected his knight from a check. Over here, I noticed that my bishop isn't in the pin anymore. Obviously, if he was, I would have been taking his queen. So I decided to give the opponent a check, thinking like his knight is also in a pin, so I'll be fine. Once he moved away, I was very much debating if I could take the knight, if that's the right move, or I should be staying on the diagonal to protect my pawn. The thing I was worried about is if I stay, he's just going to come down here with the bishop, attack my queen and the diagonal, and I'm in a bigger sense of trouble. Also, the fact that now his knight is free to take my bishop, so I did not want that to be the case. I decided to take. He took my pawn, again attacking my bishop, my rook. I didn't really see a way for me to protect. The only way would be to move my bishop up, but then he has essentially a check that I didn't want to try to figure out the calculations of how that's going to be. But anyways, he would get my rook in the end of it all. I decided to come back down, give a check, and at this point, I was just shuffling checks because I wasn't really sure what the best move is. And when he got here, I noticed that I don't really have too much options. I gave one more check, knowing that this is going to be the last one. And then over here, I took something close to 20 seconds regarding what to do. I decided to go with the castling, saying I'm going to lose this rook, but at least my king would be a little bit more safe. Once I did that, over here I was talking a lot about figuring out exactly, what the best way it is to attack the queen, and I understood that even if I come here, I have an extra protection. I don't need to come with my king to protect my rook if he decides to try to, give me a check over here and try to move my king over. I have some form of protection for my rook who's attacking his queen. So I knew that he had to move his queen. He doesn't have very much options because all of my pieces are pretty much protected, except for the bishop. But the bishop, he doesn't really have a way to attack with his queen. So this is the biggest one that I pointed out. And lo and behold, he made a huge blunder, totally forgetting about the fact that he has his queen that's under attack, and I just took. I was sure he's gonna, resign right away, but he played another move, and once I moved my rook away from the attack, he essentially resigned. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm sorry that it wasn't in live, but I'll remind you that I stopped the video. You can also look at the thumbnail. What would be the best move over there? Just go back instead of coming and taking the pawn on g7. You feel free to write in the comments if there's anything you want me to talk about next time, any subject, anything that you feel like maybe I could be of help. Feel free to comment, and I'll be sure to answer any comment and any request. Have a great day, and thank you for watching.